Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final phase of the Global Dialogue for Justice 2020, a hybrid world forum launched on July 15 to raise awareness about the sufferings inflicted upon the innocent victims of repression, torture, rape, and the old and new forms of genocide. The global community must never remain complacent in the face of this kind of injustices perpetrated by the brutal leaders and their governments. As human beings, we are being challenged to step up, to speak louder, and act bolder in search for justice. We must refuse to stay silent.
Thanks, Dr. Merge. Hello, everyone, to the world. So my name is Hüseyin Demirtaş. I'm a former Turkish naval officer and a military diplomat. But now, this is very important and most precious for me that I am a human rights defender. In today's webinar, we are together with Dr. Mergina Hemp, an academic, Dr. Bayram Erzurumluoglu, another academic as well, and a Navy Captain Halis Tunc. We will talk about systematic torture as a genocidal tool, a traumatic tool of a neo-modern type of genocide, which I call Erdocide. In this episode of Global Dialogue for Justice phases, you will hear from these very valuable individuals answers to some key questions about the characteristic of systematic torture under Erdogan's rule, pattern and purposes of torture, targeted groups of this systematic torture, and effect of torture to the society, to the Turkish society especially. We will see videos first of some victims and witnesses of this systematic torture, and then hear from our panelists. Sometimes I will talk in Turkish also, and we will have your questions in Turkish and English. We will have also a question and answers session at the end. So your English and Turkish questions are all welcome. We will give very clear answers to your questions about systematic torture and also genocidal crimes in Turkey. We will end the program with closing remarks of our panelists. But before closing remarks, also there will be a raffle. Dr. Merge will sign off on a global community engagement volunteer and a VIP pass for all 10 episodes of Beyond the Shadow of September series. First now, you will watch a video from a press conference and hear from a member of Turkish National Assembly, Mustafa Yeneroğlu, announcing some facts on torture under Erdogan's rule.
İşkence en adi suçlardan birisidir. Bir insanlık suçudur. Bir insan hangi suçu işlemiş olursa olsun, o kişiye işkence yapmak, insanlık onurunu ve şerefini ayaklar altına almaktır. Onursuz, insanlıktan yoksun bir davranıştır. İşkenceler ve kötü muameleler hız kesmeden devam etmektedir. Birleşmiş Milletler İşkence Özel Raportörü Nils Melzer bir açıklamasında Türkiye'de gözaltı merkezlerinde işkencenin bir politika haline geldiğini ve gaddarca yöntemlerin uygulandığını belirtiyor. Artık işkencenin ve kötü muamelenin sanki meşruymuş gibi çekinmeden yapıldığını, hatta bunun sosyal medya üzerinden paylaşıldığını görüyoruz. Geçtiğimiz hafta Uşak Emniyet Müdürlüğü'nde gözaltına alınan kadınların çıplak olarak arandıkları haberi basına yansıdı. Gözaltında çıplak arama, işkence ve kötü muamele yasağının açık ihlalidir.
Çırılçıplak bir bayansınız ve çırılçıplak soyunmanız isteniliyor. Çırılçıplak soyunuyorsunuz ve 3 kez otur kalk, yani bu çok çirkin bir davranış.
İşkence vakaları Türkiye'de ciddi manada artarak sistematik hale gelmekle kalmamış, artarak sistematik hale gelmekle kalmamış, artarak sistematik hale gelmekle kalmamış,
Okay, Dr. Murgy, we are not hearing you. So there is some technical problem, I think. But you heard, as you heard from the Member of Parliament, Mustafa Yeneroğlu, torture as a crime against humanity became systematic and the policy and the routine of Erdogan's bureaucracy. And even worse, became protected, which has a meaning of downfall of a legal state. So, Dr. Murgy, what could be your comments on these systematic, routine, and protected torture in a 21st century's country? What would you say that? Would you please switch on your microphone, please? Your mic is off. Dr. Murgy, your mic is off.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Colonel. It's hard to learn the truth and the facts about brutal methods and the tools inflicting immeasurable pain and sufferings as a policy in a country like Turkey in the 21st century. Even according to Nils Melzer, a United Nations special rapporteur, it's done without hesitation, even shared on social media. So you see, it's well documented, and it's known not only in Turkey but outside Turkey, and even organizations, the United Nations, the European Court of Human Rights, countries like Germany, Switzerland, the Netherlands, Belgium, France, the USA, UK. But there is this pervasiveness and persistence of complacency to act swiftly, to act decisively, and to act urgently to respond and save the innocent people who are victims of the heinous crimes. The response from the international community, for example, the journalists, policymakers, is almost non-existent. It's weak. And there's a huge gap between the urgency, the response to save innocent lives. And so what are the roadblocks to stopping the systematic torture and the tolerance of torture? I think it's bureaucracy is in the way, and much red tape that is happening. It takes years before cases are heard and acted upon, politicizing the pain and suffering of people, and never gets called out in the loudest and the strongest ways. And I think the cowardice of the challenge to punish the brutal dictators and regime, it's never there. So first, I believe that there is a point when the Turkish people themselves will unite collectively and demand for justice to end the brutality, and ask the global community to step up and to end the suffering of the innocent people who are being victims of the systematic torture. Thank you, Colonel.
Thank you, Dr. Murgy. So you highlight especially the urgency, the reactions, urgency, and you highlighted something else. So dictators, they are not always alone. Actually, they are never alone. So bureaucracy supports them. And especially in the democracies, the votes, the people who are voting for their leader, so this makes the leader very open to become a dictator. So we need to control the strength also, the power. And but I need to highlight something that the Member of Parliament, Mustafa Yeneroğlu, stated that the torture was protected. But we hear from the witnesses something other, another fact. Torture is not only protected. Now we will watch and hear from an old member of parliament, Turkish parliament, and a journalist. He shares another brutal fact. He said torture is not only protected, but ordered.
Somut kanıtımız var. 15 Temmuz darbe kalkışmasının daha sonra sanığı olan kişilerin emniyet müdürlüklerinde çekilen fotoğrafları bize işkenceyi kanıtlıyor zaten. Kulakları koparılmış, yüzü gözü morartılmış, çok ağır kabadayak işkencesinden geçirilmiş insanların fotoğrafları yayımlandı. Devletin resmi ajansı olan Anadolu Ajansı'ndan televizyon görüntüleri televizyonlara servis edildi. Şimdi bu kadar da bir pervasızlık vardı. Aynı şey hapishanelerde oldu mu? Evet oldu. Nereden biliyorum? Çünkü Silivri 9 nolu hapishanede yatarken bir gardiyan pişmanlıkla bana bunu anlattı. O kadar pişman olmuş ki yaptığından. Bunu paylaşmak istiyor ve paylaşabileceği insanlardan birisi olarak beni gördü ve dedi ki biz darbe kalkışmasından sonra buraya getirilen herkese dayak attık. Bunu emrettiler bize ve yapmaz isek FETÖ'cülükten soruşturulacaksınız diye de tehdit edildik dedi.
So, I'm now turning to Captain Halis Tunc. He is a friend of mine also. Dear Halis, I request you two things. First, just to introduce yourself. And my second question, as a soldier, what can you say about torture on orders and threatening the public servants? They would be made terrorists unless they execute torture. And can you please share some of these ordered and protected? So ordered and protected type of systematic tortures inflicted to the military personnel. So we are then.
Thank you very much, Colonel. Also, thank you very much having me here. My name is Halis Tunc, ex-diplomat, Navy captain, and following my more than 20 years service patriotic manner for my country, Turkey, I was purged by the Erdogan regime, which is currently active in Turkey. I assumed my last mission in Greece as a naval attaché. After my 3 years service there, because of unfortunate development, as you all know, in Turkey on 15 July 2016, the coup, my life has been also harshly affected, just like another 50,000 army service members who are either purged or jailed. And now I'm trying to fight against the violation of fundamental rights by the current dictatorial authoritarian regime in Turkey. Yes, for your question, Colonel, there are a lot of ways of tragic and horrible arbitrary execution used by the regime to intimidate public or reshaping country. What is the guarantee to protect people from evil applications? In other words, how the regime managed to create this inhuman system in Turkey. Unlike the democratic liberal countries where justice system works well, all mechanisms are misused by the regime. 50,000 law enforcement agents in justice system, 6,000 prosecutors, judges have been purged, and every day hundreds of them still are put in the custody or jail. Those are replaced with the new ones who follow the orders of the regime, and the rest are afraid of acting independently because of meeting the same fate of harshly violation or their rights and subjected to torture. That's why we cannot talk about any guarantees that protect the people from treatment incompatible with human dignity. I will tell you some incidents showing how the torture applied systematically by the regime. Very small example. Lieutenant from Air Force, lady, tortured and raped in the custody by more than one. got pregnant in the prison and had an abortion. Even though this incident is well known by the court and state agencies, there is no open file against the criminals. The people with this mentality also are threat to public as well, not only in the prison. Before and after this tragic incident, Turkish media, the most circulated ones, Sabah and rest also, which are propaganda tool of the regime, used this lady's picture and name and wrote that this is the F-16 pilot who bombarded the parliament and other places. This girl was made as a target for everyone. Even she was not F-16 pilot. It was big lie. This media, without any regret, keep creating hatred against her and her family. Ministers, for example, told openly that the inmates will be exposed to such a torture they will beg for being killed. Erdogan also expressed to public that I don't want to feed them inside in prison. There are many even worse rhetoric are repeated by the politicians and high-level bureaucrats. Those are the direct message to law enforcement agents or person taking part in judicial system to treat people such a way to realize regime's desire. Whatever it is, I don't know. I know, of course, but no need to tell. You may remember the famous pictures, and also journalist Ishik in the video, I heard that as well. The famous video and pictures showing the tortured generals and admirals, which are used by the regime media as a dark propaganda tool. Amnesty International actually published research report and mentioned also about this incident. But Erdogan returned this, answered this organization, and they told that the claim of the amnesty is not right, false information. This general and admiral are injured at the night of 15 July while fighting back to law enforcement agents. But we have learned from both law indictments and suspects and witnesses' official statement that suspects showed no resistance against police. Instead, they had been arrested at home or following their office in the office. I personally, on 16 July midday, talked to Chief of Personnel Department of the Turkish General Staff, Lieutenant İlhan Talos, 3-star general, about the returning of the Turkish helicopter which landed on the Greece when I was in Greece as a naval attaché. And then I was shocked when I saw him on the media as terribly tortured. Those happened before the very eyes of the public, but nothing happened to the criminals again. It is clear evidence that high-rank representatives of the regime and the institution are protecting the criminals. How this process has been applied in systematic manner, what is the official base of the systematic executions? Regime government introduced new decree law on 23 July 2016 to authorize the institution to purging and arresting their staff. Soldiers, judge, prosecutors, police agents, or all civil servants based on the institutional arbitrary assessment without no need to legal process. Assessment means putting execution on them that they are terrorists. It strengthens the hand of institutions. Afterwards, on 29 July 2016, regime assigned new persons to the key posts who can execute illegal process in comply with the regime's desire. In September 2016, institutions set up new department to declare its personnel as a terrorist and give them in charge. In October, when we come to October, some officers start to complain about that they have no legal base to purge the personnel because there is no evidence against them. And in the future, they could be most probably charged on their illegal process. And Turkish armed forces requested legal base from government for their illegal activity. It was also same for the murder and tortures. on 24 November 2016, new decree law was introduced by the regime to protect all criminals involved into violation of fundamental human rights. Murderers, criminals gained judicial immunity. By verbal approval and legal base allows court and law enforcement agencies, prison authorities for mistreatment. Very small example. There are many people subjected to mistreatment, filed a legal action against the officials who are responsible for the torture or illegal executions. Most of them are overlooked, but a few prosecutors started investigation against the dramatic claims. And what happened? For example, Turkish Naval Command sent official letter whose subject was criminal complaints to the Republic's prosecutors, dated 7 July 2017, to the Council of Judge and Prosecutors, which is in charge of personal affairs of the and promotion, appointment, punishment of expelling of the judge and prosecutors. These organizations first are very binding for the judge and prosecutor. The letter says, quote, it is very important because as a recent development, it has come to our attention that members of the organization are filing criminal complaints against armed forces personnel to the Republic's prosecutor's office, and that the prosecutor starting investigations and even asking for authorization from the related command to conduct investigations, even though it is clearly regulated by the Article 37 of Decree 6755 that those who made decision and conducted their responsibilities within the context of the emergency decrees cannot be legally, administratively, financially, criminally held responsible as a result of their decision and actions. Republic's prosecutors should act accordingly. It is the statement of the written in the letter of the Navy. So it means that whatever we do, you should do nothing, like a manifesto to legal bodies. But horrible parts come afterward. The Council of the Judge and Prosecutors forwarded this letter to the Ministry of the Justice to share it judicial bodies. The Minister of Justice sent this letter to all Attorney General of the Republic, and Attorney General sent it to the public prosecutors, all of them, as an order to do nothing against potential organized criminal actions of the governmental organization. It is clear evidence that there is no independent legal system. Instead, prosecutors and judges are part of this evil process. Recently, if you saw, hundreds of lawyers have been arrested on charge of defending their clients effectively. It means that the victims are left fully defenseless. Namely, nobody cares what happened to them. I'm concluding. There are systematic execution against opponents by the regime and 100,000 victims. In fact, taking account their first-line relatives, millions are suffering from mistreatment in prison or civil society. And also, if you allow me, I commemorate the police officer, Mustafa Akçoğlu, and my colleague and also classmate, Mustafa Avalan, who left death in their single cell. Thank you.
So thank you, Halis. It was a very comprehensive one. I was not able to interrupt you, so it was so good. Thanks a lot. So the big picture, the bureaucracy, Erdogan's bureaucracy, they are just producing lies, deceiving local and global public, and the institutions which normally are responsible for a state of law, so to keep the constitutional order, but they are just sending letters, sending orders, So all the prosecutor officers, offices, it was about 139 officers. So they sent to 139 prosecutor officers or offices to cover all the crimes which were inflicted by these institutions, these officials. And which kind of crimes? Raping, you know, raping. And they are just giving impunity or judicial immunity, also we can say, to these kind of people to cover all these crimes against humanity. So now we come to the patterns and purposes of systematic torture as a genocidal tool. You will see two videos now, a victim and a witness of torture telling what she experienced and what she witnessed. So Kurt, this is your turn now.
Aldılar bizi. Girdiğimiz anda zaten başladı her şey. Yani girerken bile artık nüfus cüzdanınızı teslim ettiniz. Bundan sonrası için nüfus cüzdanınızın ve kimliğinizin, yani vatandaşlığınızın, yani özgürlüğünüzün sonuna geldi. Neler yapılmış? Elektrik vermek suretiyle işkence edilmiş, çırılçıplak soyulup ıslatılıp sırtından, ellerinden, yani mahrem uzuvlarından elektrik verilmiş. Kafaya poşetler, çuvallar geçirilerek nefessiz bırakılmış. Orada hepimiz 10 bayan, 10'umuz da evliydik. Bir tanesi bekardı, 9 evliydi, özür diliyorum. Bunların hepsinin eşleriyle tehdit edilmiş olması. 14 gün boyunca soğuk sularla duş alındı, lavaboya girildi ve o 5 kadın logarların taşmasıyla bir göz nezarette üst üste dip dibe burun buruna yatmak zorunda kalmıştık. Tabii bu bizim için yine orada kendimizi muhafaza edebileceğimiz, kendimizi koruyabileceğimiz, kendi iffetimizi, namusumuzu artık ne kadar daha muhafaza edip saklayabilirizin derdiyle birbirimize hep sütre olmaya çalıştık. Benim eşimi gördüğüm insan insanlıktan çıkmıştı. Verdikleri elektrik şokuyla dudakları mosmordu. Cilt rengi normal bir insan rengi gibi değildi. Şöyle söyleyebilirim. Yani ölür de insan tekrar böyle morga konulduğunda bir cilt rengi olur. Morarır, morarımsı bir renk alır, teni buz gibidir. Artık canı çekilmiştir ya içinden. Aynen onun gibi. Gözleri yani göz bebekleri zaten görünmüyor. Müthiş derecede acayip göz rengi, içi yapısı, saçları darmadağın ve ciddi anlamda böyle pantolonunun belinden düştüğünü, ayaklarını sürüyerek ilerlediğini, beni ikinci kez ifadeye çağırdıklarında eşimin bu halini gördüm. Ve bana dediler ki, eşinle görüştüreceğiz seni, lütuf olacak. Yani beni zannediyorum ki eşim rica etmiş, beni çok merak etmiş eşim. Beni görmek istemiş, ricasının üzerine de beni yanına çağırmış. Ve beni alıp götürmüşler. Bana böyle anlatılıyor. Ama gittiğimde gözlere eşime yaptıkları o işkence ve eziyet sonucunda imzalattıkları, şuurunun yerinde olmadığı bir kağıt ve kalemle yaptıkları bir şey üzerine beni oraya getirdikleri çok belliydi. Çünkü tehdit etmişler. Bak, bunu imzalamazsan eşine yapabileceklerimizi aklın, hayalin bile almaz. Eşin yan odada, şu an sen bunu yapmazsan ona yapabileceklerimizi tahmin bile edemez. Yani beni görmeyi ya da benim sağlıklı olduğumu görmeyi istediği beyanı ile ben götürüldüm. Eşin seni çok merak etmiş, seni gitmeden bir kez daha görmek istedi. Biz de size lütfediyoruz, size izin veriyoruz, bir 4-5 dakika görüşebilirsiniz şeklinde. Benim gidiş duygu düşüncem bu, karşılaştığım manzara bu.
İşte ben yine dövmeye başlarlarken önümden 3 tane sanırsam 3 tane başörtülü genç kız geçti, böyle önümden gördüm onları. Sonra benim olduğum yan tarafa götürdüler onları. Tabii onlara bu arada orada işkence falan, işte dövüyorlar. Ondan sonra işte küfrediyorlar, bağırıyorlar falan. Yani sonra onlara işte tecavüz etme şeyi oldu orada. Yani böyle çığlıklar şunu tamam. Sonra bana gelip işte eğer istediklerimizi söylemezsen, yapmazsan senin eşinin kısmında olduğunu biliyoruz. Aynı şey onların başına da gelebilir falan. İşte o gece ben artık gördüğüm işkencelerin hiçbir tanesi umuruma gelmiyordu. İntihar etmeyi düşündüm. Sonra tabii intihar etmenin hükmünün, yani inancım açısından ne olduğunu biliyorum. O yüzden ilk gittiğimde vazgeçtim. Sonra geldim. Birkaç saat sonra bir daha izin istedim. Bir daha gittim. Sonra orada yine yani inancımla bu şey arasında gidip geldim böyle. İnce bir çizgi. Sonra dedim ki ya Rabbim sen görüyorsun dedim. Ne olur bana hayır kapı aç dedim. Vazgeçtim, geldim spor salonuna.
I don't know what to say. So just I will tell you something. Erdogan and his bureaucracy, they are deceiving, especially the Islamic world, as if they are Muslims. In the history, in the world, in the universe, non-Muslim, no one as a Muslim, permits, lets, or does this. I definitely say that. So now the world sees who is terrorist. Sorry for that. But all the universe becomes a witness to this serious, systematic rapes to innocent girls, Muslim girls. So, sorry for that, but it's touching. Sorry, Dr. Merja, I'm now turning to you. I just wonder your feelings and assessments as a mother, a woman, as a human being, and as a citizen of a state on targeting babies. But I will ask you later. Okay, I will ask you later. So first, I just want to give the floor to Dr. Bayram, but I will ask you definitely when you get a little bit calm. Okay, I see you are full of feelings now. So, Dr. Bayram, you are an expert, an academic, and I really you have a very important position in my life. So I want to give the floor now to you as an academic, but as a victim of the state of emergency also. And you are the compiler of a series of official and historical reports. I say historical reports because these are very important, which are named as social costs of state of emergency. So these reports include thousands of data, incident, and evidences of this societal genocide, which were directly obtained from the victims themselves. Sure. So these are some series of victimization reports, and very real. I kindly request you first introduce yourself, then give some facts about the systematic torture incidents during this state of emergency, and share on the patterns and purposes of the regime. So the floor is yours, Dr.
Thank you very much, Hüseyin. Well, I am an academic and a victim of Erdogan regime, obviously. I am being accused, I'm accused of being a terrorist and purged out of a university post, but they couldn't prove it that I was a terrorist. Yet, what did they do? They labeled me that, yes, we couldn't prove that you are not a terrorist. You are a terrorist, sorry. Couldn't prove that you are a terrorist, but you talk like terrorists. It means that you are a person who is opposing to this government. So the court's verdict was that, yes, you are not a terrorist, but since you are talking like a terrorist, so we name you supporting supporting a terrorist organization despite not being a member. This type of crime. You are not a member of terrorist organization, but you are supporting them. So this is an odyssey of this government. Anyway, let me get into my thing. I am outraged every day. Basically, I am outraged with the video I just watched. Yes, I am aware of all those things, but still every time, well, I am annoyed. This kind of news. I sometimes cry. In our culture, you know, men never cry. But believe you me, I cry every time I see these kind of videos or some kind of news. Anyway, let me get into this situation, what is happening in Turkey. Basically, there is no rule of law in this country. There is only arbitrary decisions and dictates of one man. As the regime run in partnership with ultra-nationalists, radical Islamists, and other rogue elements of the country, it is getting more aggressive, more oppressive, more racist, more radical, more lawless, more torturous, more unruly, more disrespectful to the justice every day. Believe you me, this is the situation in the country. Arbitrary arrests, kidnappings, media manipulations, black propaganda, smear campaigns, you name it, are all over the country, and getting bolder in breaking rules of humanity to elongate its hold on power, because they know that they cannot go on ruling the country if they return to rule of law, if they respect of humanity or laws of the country. That is why they intentionally chose a way of oppressiveness. Basically, they oppress people, media, and all other political and social opposition. But they are very good at one thing. They are very good at manipulations, media manipulations, black propaganda or white propaganda. I can tell you that. I can put my signatures under every talks of the government, members of the government. Let me repeat it again. I can put my signatures under every talks of the members of the government. But I wouldn't be doing anything they actually do. This is the situation. So they are facing a bunch of hypocrites. These people are very skillful in presenting themselves as, let's say, sincere people, respectful to the law, but they do exactly the opposite. Just to give you a few examples, and that they actually do not refrain killing people or kidnapping people, torturing people, and then they are very skillful in hiding what they do through the power of propaganda. But whatever happens, everything cannot be hidden from the public forever, obviously. Just I'd like to give a few examples. For example, this government do not refrain killing boys or girls, you know, just to give you an example. And a boy called Ahmet Ataç, a 10 years old boy, Ahmet Ataç was by preventing his cancer treatment. That child is in a grave now. He's dead. And a Persian policeman, Mustafa Kabakçıoğlu, was murdered by untreatment of his COVID-19 in a solitary confinement of a prison, for example. Similarly, Colonel Mustafa Barış Avalan has lost his life under similar conditions. Another young boy, 18 years of young boy, was killed in prison. If you ask the government, they would say, we didn't kill anybody. These people died of natural causes. That is true. These people died of, let's say, cancer, COVID-19, or let's say heart failure. Yes, on the surface, that is true. But in reality, these people were murdered because they didn't get proper treatment. They couldn't have access to a proper hospital. Basically, That is why they were killed, murdered. Basically, that is why. Why do they do this? We may wonder. And what do they wish to gain out of this? Well, they wish to gain two things out of this. First thing is they try to scare the public, opposition, everybody. Look, if you behave like these people, your end will be like these people. Okay, what did they want from this 10 years old boy? Simple, because they send a message to other mothers and fathers. Look, if you go out of line, your children might be dying because of your unruliness, this and that. It is a message to the public. So that is why, believe you me, nobody is trying to talk the truth about anything, because fear is running running the public, let's say. That is why I can obviously say that Turkey is no longer a democracy or even autocracy, because since there is no rule of law, well, I cannot give it a name. We could say tyranny, or I don't know what we could say, but I shall leave it to other people. Most important of all those things is that a government never try to stop tortures or torturers, never try to stop kidnappings or kidnappers. But one thing they do very successfully is arresting journalists who are trying to get the truth out and publicize them to the public or to the world media. That is why comparing the number of populations by population, even exceeding arrested, even exceeding the numbers of arrested journalists in Russia or China. That is the basically that is the situation. That is why people outside of the country can hardly have real information about what is going on in the country. They think that everything is nice, and then people in Turkey are living in a worldly heaven, and then they are very happy with their beloved let's say leader. No, that is not the truth. That is just propaganda. In reality, Turkey is like a big Nazi camp for the opposition, basically. And then people are being killed, not in crematoriums or let's say human flesh burning ovens, but they are being killed through, as I said, by means like mistreatment, untreatment, or pushing them to suicides. Suicides are very high in the country. That is the situation, or being or some accidental killings while trying to get out of the country, like getting getting what is the word for it? Anyway,
fleeing from
like,
Turkey to Greece by marriage. Do you mean?
Yeah.
Would you like to mean that?
Submerging, like yes, shipwrecks, this and that, getting dead on the sea or in the sea or rivers, this and that. Well, that is the situation in the country. Well, we need basically support inside and outside. I shall stop here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much also, Dr. So far we left half of our time behind. And so Dr. Bayram also highlighted lots of things. I don't know how to categorize them, but in Turkey, killing, torturing, kidnapping, murdering all became a routine, standard, and protected. And we are finding day by day different detained people died in the prison cells in solitary confinement. So they are preventing medical care. So just after a heart operation, just they are taking this person, for example, to solitary confinement, as if he should be kept due to coronavirus. But normally he needs medical care. So, and also when we look at the sequence of detainment after in the 20 July regime, I say, first they detained judiciary people, because these judiciary people, they were responsible for keeping the country with rule of law, and now we don't have any rule of law principle, alive rule of law principle in the country. And they did
one thing here, sorry, may I add one thing to give an example about what is happening in Turkish courts? Okay, thank you.
Please go on.
Recently, the president of Constitutional Court was threatened in a sense that even himself could be called or named as a member of terrorist organization. I'm repeating. I know what I'm talking about. The president of Constitutional Court, because Constitutional Court decided or ruled some verdicts that the government didn't like. Okay, the actually Interior Minister, I think Interior Minister, publicly threatened, and the head of the state as well publicly threatened the head of Constitutional Court that he himself could be named as a member of a terrorist organization, so he shouldn't step out of the line the government set in the country. That is one example. I'd like to give another example. A lower court, you know, all courts had to keep in line with Constitutional Court's decisions. This is the rule all over the world. But a lower court, I mean, lowest of the lowest, you know, a lower court decided that they wouldn't implement the Constitutional Court's verdict on a case that they disagreed, because government wanted to keep some opposition people, let's say like Osman Kavala or maybe Selahattin Demirtaş. I am not sure, but probably Osman Kavala case. It was Osman Kavala case. Constitutional Court decided that Osman Kavala's human rights were violated, so he should be released from prison. Similarly, maybe Selahattin Demirtaş should be released from prison. You know, I think European Court of Human Rights passed a similar verdict on Selahattin Demirtaş, as far as I know. But with the government's probably orders, you know, secret orders, decided that they are not bound by the decisions of the Constitutional Court. This is the situation in the country, and then I don't think there is any more thing left to talk about. Thank you very much. I stop here. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, Dr. Bayram, thanks a lot again. And you said Turkey became just like a Nazi camp for the opposition. I disagree with that, because they are killing babies, children, and they are even killing unborn babies in their mother's wombs. So there is nothing about talking, there is nothing to talk about opposition. So they're just killing babies. So now, so far we left more than half of our time behind. Now we come to the targeted groups. People are naming the targeted groups by using different, but especially discriminating names. And the Erdogan's bureaucracy exploits this kind of naming, because all the victims of genocide discriminated each other. There is no solidarity. And due to that fact, I don't prefer to categorize the people and request you to see the victims as human beings only, and as citizens of a country. Please watch the video now and see yourself who are the targeted groups indeed. So please, Kurt.
Kadınlarla, çocuklarla bu kadar uğraşan olmadı.
O çocukların oradaki feryatlarını hiç unutamıyorum. Çocukların babalarının dövülüyor görmek, çocukların gözlerinin önünde babalarının dövülmesi, onlara hakaret edilmesi, çocukların oradaki bakışlarını, çaresizliklerini, ağlayışlarını anlatamam. Ve şöyle söyleyeyim, 6 tanesi emzikliydi bunların. Emiyorlardı bu çocuklar.
Size bebekli annelerden bahsetmek istiyorum. 4 aylık bir çocuğu var, bir de küçük bir başka çocuğu daha var. Anneyi aldılar, gözaltına tutukladılar. O 4 aylık bebek her gün ağlıyor. Babanın başına bırakmış, polisler gitmiş. Baba ne yapsın 4 aylık bebekle? Susturamıyorum bu çocuğu diyor. 4 aylık bir bebeği siz hangi intikam sahikiyle annesinden ayırabildiniz? Siz ne biçim insansınız? Bir tanesi de Yasemin Hanım'ın, biri 9 aylık, öbürü 19 aylık 2 tane çocuğu var. Bu kadını tutukluyorlar ve savcı bu çocukların çocuk esirgemeye verilmesini istiyor. Bir tane kadın getirdiler. İyi dinleyin burayı. Kadının 1 aylık bir bebeği var. Ve bu kadıncağızın memelerinden süt geliyor. İşte bunu anneler bilir. Çocuk sütü emmezse kadının memeleri sızlar. Götürüp hani gidip lavaboda akıtsan olmaz mı dedik. Kadın ağlamaya başladı. O benim çocuğumun sütü nasıl akıtabilirim diye. Çocuğu getiriyorlar nezarete. Çocuğunu emziriyor, geri geliyor, nezarete giriyor kadın. Böyle bir şey olabilir mi? Bugün AKP'nin yaptığı şeyler var ya, 20.000 yıl konuşulsa yine de bu halkın içi soğumayacak. AKP bebeklerden intikam alıyordu. Bebeklerden. Bebeklerden. Bu çok açık. Ve bu yüzden vereceği hesap o kadar büyük ki. Ne demek bir bebeği annesiz bırakmak? 4 aylık bir bebek diyorum ya. Artık yeter artık. Taş olsa çatlar, ağaç olsa dile gelirdi, yeter. Meriç'te boğulan bebekler var ya, Onların ahı yakanızdan bir gün bile düşmeyecek.
Ya bunları anlatıyoruz, mecliste anlatıyoruz. Duvar gibi bakıyor milletvekilleri bize, AK Parti milletvekilleri.
Sizde de
Bakın böyle bir şey, bakın yani bu insani durum savaş halinde bile olmaz ya. Gerçekten savaş halinde bile olmaz.
Yani
bakın gözaltında doğum yapmış kadın bir gün sonra gözaltına gidiyor tekrar polis sorgusuna. Bebeği kendisinde değil, gözaltında değil. Anne şeyi de işte akrabasında, yakınında, hangi yakını varsa orada. 5 saatte bir izin almak için biz devreye giriyoruz ya. Bakın bu çocuğun anne sütüne ihtiyacı var. Hiç olmazsa izin verin gitsin falan filan. Alıyorlar çocuğu, annesine götürüyorlar bir saat. Emziriyor, tekrar götürüyorlar dışarıya. Bunları bakın, bunlar gerçekten savaş ortamında düşmanınıza yapmayacağınız hususlar. Ne yapmış mesela o gözaltındaki kadın? Canlı bomba mı? Değil. Yani kimin canına kastetmiş? Kimse etmemiş. Darbeci mi? Değil. Ne olmuş? Bankasında parası varmış. Bunlara bakın, bu zulümler yapıldı ve yaşandı ya. 80 yaşındaki, 86 yaşındaki yani kendi şeyiyle, kendi ayağıyla kendi ihtiyaçlarını karşılamayan insanlar aylarca cezaevinde kaldılar ve kalmaya devam ediyorlar ya. Yani oğluyla bakın koğuşunu ayırdılar. Koğuşunu. Oğluna ceza verdiler. Oğlunu hücreye aldılar. Evet. Oğluyla cezaevinde aynı koğuşta kalıyorlar. Neymiş? Oğlu işte ya da kendisi şey yapmış. Gelenler demiş ki sabırlı olun, bugünler geçecek.
Anne böyle böyle dedi. Kapıcı şikayet etmiş. Üzerine 6 tane polis birden çullanmış, erkek polis. Kimi saçını çekiştiriyor diyor, kimi başörtümü aşmaya çalışıyor, kimi elimden telefonu alacak, kimi çantamı almaya, kimi kolumu kıvırıyor diye hepsi 6 tane erkek polis. Ya zaten serçe kadar bir çocuk ya.
So, Dr. Merge, just with the previous video, as we see, Erdogan's bureaucracy, which I call a genocidal bureaucracy, targets babies, moms, girls, women for raping, preventing them medical care, preventing them feeding. So, just as a mother, as a woman, a human being, as a citizen, what do you say about this? Targeting babies, moms, as victims of systematic torture. Systematic, ordered, protected, organized. So in which kind of religion, in which kind of regime, in which kind of ideology, or in which kind of moral system can these kind of things be justified?
Thank you, Colonel. That's it's really hard. What we do here is it's not easy. It's heartbreaking. It's too emotional. But as we are speaking here and sharing all these things, we have another group on this chat on our presentation. A group of them that's having this conversation as well. That I would like to say thank you for staying with us, for joining the conversation, for your insights, and you being there. We have Dr. Samantha Schinder. She's a former captain in the United States Air Force, and she's making a lot of contribution and her perspectives. Dr. Rebecca Stinar, and everybody, all of you that are tuning in, you give us comfort and hope and strength. So thank you so much. We will be responding to your questions and to your adding to your insights. So thank you so much. So it was very emotional. All this sharing is hard, but my response to the latest video: there is no religion, no regime, no ideology, or any system that can justify the sufferings of defenseless young lives of babies, the suffering and pains of their mothers, and the innocent people. There isn't, and there will be no justification for this kind of brutality in any civil society. And anyone who is involved in these crimes will go down in history as a torturer of babies, and your names will be known in the world. Your crimes will never be forgotten, And even though, as a civil society, we never want to circle the violence, the brutality to continue, when you deliberately target innocent, defenseless young lives, your criminal acts will never be forgotten. That's all.
Thank you very much for your sincere answer, Dr. Murr. This is touching, and these babies make me live to defend their rights. I committed myself to defend these unborn babies, especially. And I'm sure they will call me as Hüseyin uncle when we meet each other. And this is, okay, I just keep for myself. As author of my book, Erdocide, The Creepiest Human Trauma, I realized that all the elements and stages of genocide, in some theoreticians say 8 stages and some 10 stages, all stages were executed under Erdogan's state of emergency. One of the elements of genocide is preventing births. While working on the files of trials, I found that it has really captured my notice. I found that a systematic and routine way of organized and ordered torture was crushing the testicles, giving electrical shock to testicles, and also preventing medical care of the pregnant ladies, to death of the babies in their mothers' wombs. So here you will hear from a witness which her husband was tried to be infertilized.
Unutmuyorum. Eşimin gözümün içine bakamadan, yani artık ben bir evlat sahibi olamayacağım galiba diyerek, böyle ağlayarak, hani kendisi yapılan bu işkencenin dozunu anlamaya çalışıyordum. Çünkü o söylediği cümle o gün kafamda bir yerlere oturmamıştı, ama tabii bu ifadeleri ve bu yazmış olduğu işkenceyi rapor ettiğinde çok daha iyi anladım ben bu kelimenin ne anlama geldiğini. Bu anlatılmış ama anlatılamamış, daha dağın görünmeyen kısmı, buzdağının görünmeyen kısmı derler ya, bu küçücük bir kısmı. İnanın benim yaşadıklarımın çok daha fazlasını, çok daha kötüsünü yaşayanlar var.
Kelepçeli yoğun bakımda. Kolunu kıpırdatmaya dermanı yok. Parmağını bile. Elleri demirle bağlı. Kim soracak bunların hakkını? Kim? Benim yavrumu babasız bıraktılar.
So I want to share some fact. It's a very important one. Please do not consider these types of organized and ordered and protected torture as individual cases or abuses. Remember that at the beginning of our session, the Member of Parliament, Mustafa Yenerol, announced strictly that these crimes against humanity are protected by Erdogan's bureaucracy. Since Erdogan, his collaborator ministers, collaborator members of parliament, the members of constitutional court, all together justified the murders, rapes, illegal detainments, kidnaps, mass systematic tortures, and so on, by signing, approving, and consenting to different and complementary decrees, number 668 and number 696, which recognize judicial impunity or immunity to the beheaders, to the murderers, to the torturers, to the rapists, and so on. And the protected criminals are not only the public officials, are also unqualified but privileged members of some illegitimate clans. These are all enemies of humanity in our age. Please remember Mustafa Yeneroğlu saying, "This is a downfall of a state." Personally, for example, I made about 150 complaints in total to the administrative institutions, to the judicial authorities, every kind of official institutions and authorities in Turkey. And due to these two impunity giving degrees, all the organized crimes and crimes against humanity I'm talking about, and criminals are protected by the judiciary. So far, we tried to discuss the systematic torture as a genocidal tool under Erdogan's regime after 20th of July 2016. It is not individual violations of human rights, but it is ordered, systematic, organized, and protected. Tortures and violations of human rights targeted not only the adults, also targeted babies and children. Tortures are done with the aim of infertilizing as an element of genocide. Tortures are executed not only to have confession of something, because there is nothing to confess. Torture are just made to relieve the responsibility of the prosecutors, which were not able to find any criminal act. Now we came to the end of our schedule, and we missed more than 10 minutes. Sorry for that, but it is a really important global issue, because Erdogan's bureaucracy is deceiving the local and global public. They are silencing the public. They are silencing media. So the global public, they are not aware of the realities, what is happening in Turkey. Babies are being killed in Turkey, and the global public is not aware of that. Baby killers cannot be accepted as Muslims, cannot be accepted as official people. Baby killers are clear terrorists. So now your all kind of questions are welcome. You may ask English or Turkish, and we will try to give clear answers to your questions about genocidal process and about torture in Turkey under Erdogan. So I need to highlight something. These criminal acts are done by Erdogan's bureaucracy, not Turkey. Turkish citizens, they are, most of them, not aware of these kind of things, because I love my nation. And this organization is not a state, because a state is responsible, or statecraft is responsible for protecting their babies' lives. They are not responsible to kill babies. They are not responsible raping innocent girls, young girls. They are not responsible for killing pregnant ladies. They are not responsible for preventing treatment to kill, to murder innocent, detained people in solitary confinement. And the world now sees who is terrorist.
So we have the first question, Colonel. This is a former captain of the United States Air Force. Dr. Samantha Schinder is asking, what would a panelist like to see as far as specific actions from world citizens, such as support would you like to see from U.S. civilians?
Okay. So, Dr. Bayram, well, which kind of reaction want to see? What do you want to see? The first one. So she's asking the first reaction.
Okay. Well, since those countries are democratic countries, they had better right to their MPs or, you know, some civil society leaders that informing them that they should be more sensitive to what is going on in countries like Turkey, not only Turkey, obviously there are many countries with similar problems like Yemen or China, this and that. Actually, I do not want to differentiate in the traumas of peoples of the countries, but they shall, well, they shall pressurize some political leaders, plus not them, obviously. The Court of European Court of Human Rights or United Nations Human Rights Committee, I think, should be somehow pressurized, informed about what is going on. They should be warned that they shouldn't subscribe to the lies, deceptions, black propagandas of oppressive leaders like the one we have. Thank you very much.
So may I tell something about? So our forum has the name of Global Dialogue for Justice. So I expect from the civilized world just to stop hearing Erdogan's lies and start hearing the realities of innocent people all around the world. And Captain Halis wants to say something.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, European Union, support financially Turkey in order to make the situation in prisons better for the people, a lot of money. But when we see that from the last two incidents, the people left that die in the prison, so they have to check their support, the financial support, how Turkey used this financial support in Turkey to make situation in prisons better. Secondly, actually my experience, my own experience, when I was in Greece, very often following this coup issues, embassy actually want me to ask Hellenic National General Staff and Coast Guard for that the Turkish soldiers and citizens who passed the Greek territorial waters need to be pushed back. And sometimes we see that the Greek authority actually doing that. They're pushing back the people who managed to pass Greek territory. So the European people should need to know that there is no rule of law, and there is a torture in Turkey. So they shouldn't send them back, because when they captured, they put in the jail and tortured there. So the public should be aware of that, and also countries. Thank you.
So may I say something? Here, Mrs. Bahar Dikmen, she says in Turkish, would you please some movie? It's a new movie, I think, Chicago's 7. Would you please recommend all the judges, the courts, prosecutors to watch this movie? So maybe everyone should watch this movie. The same thing or the similar thing, but in a very, very brutal way, is happening in Turkey now. And another one, we have about 7 million people directly or indirectly in Turkey, heavy and made a systematic genocide victims, he wants to say, I think. Who is it being done? To the cleanest and most decent people. Well, yeah, who doing soldiers and those does not speak up. Okay, so people are willing to hear from some activists, human rights activists, human rights defenders, to defend themselves, because the whole country is silenced by this genocidal bureaucracy. And these kind of programs are really important for them. So I see from the comments these wishes. And we are trying to be the voice of innocent people and the voice of victims of Erdocide, Erdogan's genocide. We are trying to do the best, but I'm afraid that it's not enough. It's not enough. So human rights defenders are always minority. I learned from some human rights defenders' speech. This is the truth. But we are right, and we are on the right way, so we are stronger than the criminals. And we will fight against all these kind of illegitimacies, unlawful acts, criminal acts, crimes against humanities. We will fight as long as we breathe. Because we are refusing to stay silent.
Colonel, unless good people don't, be beware enough, this, regime will become more and more cruel and brutal. That's the problem. And secondly, one adding for the previous question, actually, I would like to see foreign journalists warn those citizens of the democratic countries that their leaders have no and efficient policy against a dictator Erdogan regime.
So may I request something from Kurt? Kurt, can you please video number 8 play? Can you please play? Because we heard a lady, he was a victim and a witness of genocidal crimes, and she says something. Yeah, we need to hear her.
Kimseye bir şey anlatmak, bir yerde bir şey
I'm not able to hear.
paylaşmak, bir yerde sesini duyurmak ya da bir yere yazıp bile, yazılı olarak ifade vermekten bile korkuyorlar.
Yeah. So she says people are afraid of telling, talking, writing. So, but writing what? Writing to official authorities. Can you imagine? So in a state, the victims of rape, victims of torture, victims of murder, victims of beheading in 21st century in Turkey, they are really afraid of writing claims to official authorities. Can you imagine? This is a downfall of a state. Nobody can name Erdogan's bureaucracy as an official bureaucracy of a state. It is some other criminal organization. Erdogan himself, he says he does not respect to constitutional court's decisions. Can you imagine?
But Colonel, the call for justice is becoming louder and louder, not only coming from Turkey, but also it's being, known now in many countries of the world. So, do you think that there will be a time when the Turkish people and the Turkish people in and out of Turkey will say enough of the brutality, enough of the torture? And what do you think, and when do you think that's going to happen?
So first, they need to believe that they are right. This belief is weak now. First of all, a person must respect to his own rights. But people are alternating between fear and right. So fear is a sub-element of interest. I assume so. So, for example, you can gain some money by doing some illegal thing. But you can gain also reputation. You can gain also a position by doing some corrupt. So fear is also a kind of interest to save himself from the persecution of the authority. So I relate fear and interest in this respect. So first, we need to highlight the right is the most ultimate value in the universe, in the history, in life of a person. Life of a person is, for example, 70 years, 60 years, 100 years, it doesn't matter. Right is the most ultimate value, not the interests. We need to gain ourselves this belief. When I am right, nobody has the right to execute persecution on me. And then this is for individual, I'm talking about individual rights, but also especially, for example, for myself as a soldier. I feel myself responsible also for the rights of my nation. Then some people must start fighting against these kind of persecutions, illegalities, unlawful acts, terrorist acts, tortures, crimes against humanity, to defend the innocent people's rights, not their own. This is the second level of human rights thinking. So first, we need to believe that we are rightful, we are innocent, and we are strong. It doesn't matter. These kind of illegal people, illegitimate authorities, they can be numerous. They can be very crowded. It doesn't matter. Thousands of people, millions of people. It doesn't matter. If I am alone, I can say I am right and I defend my rights. I defend my children's rights. I defend my family's rights. I defend my nation's and also all the humans' rights. So this is the basic energy or inertia of fighting against these kind of crimes and criminals. I believe so.
I have one question. There's one question for Captain Halis. Captain, you know, sometimes we speak so boldly and so courageously on and with our criticisms, but the reality is there is the force from this brutal dictator who can reach very far, global reach. And sometimes, you know, we have to probably understand what those people who want to speak up, who want to act, but they couldn't because they're of the fear, the reality of these forces that are going to hurt them, that's going to kidnap them without any protection from other countries. What do you say about this? How do we help them?
That's totally right, because they are threatening people with their most beloved ones. For example, there will be also so some tortures, tortures that uh, the law enforcement agents bring the wife of the suspect and force this person to put signature on the paper. They threaten him with the kids and also most beloved ones. This is the we only saw this kind of things in the Hollywood, you know. Uh, so people afraid of being exposed of this kind of threat. So it is not easy for the people who are in Turkey, but the people in abroad countries should do something, should speak up and try to make aware the people, at least the European countries, about what's going on in Turkey. That's it. What can I say?
That's all the question I have, Colonel.
Okay, so it's about 1.5 hours, and we have no questions so far. And shall we make the raffle, Dr. Merge? Dr. Merge, we are not hearing you.
Oh, okay, so we're gonna do the raffle. Thank you, Colonel. So can you have the picture? So, Captain, Dr. Samantha Shinder, are you still in the audience? So we would like to draw from, if you're still in, Dr. Shinder, would you like to? I don't see her right now. Dr. Shinder. Okay, so we need to draw 5 numbers from 1 through 29. And these numbers will be every person who joined today are assigned a number. And we will be announcing those winners tomorrow from YouTube and also on Twitter. But we will have to draw them today, and the winner will get the VIP pass for the new documentary. And one of the episodes of this documentary was filmed in Istanbul, Turkey, and I filmed there to share the culture and the rich history of one of my most beautiful, favorite and beautiful cities in the world. And I believe that one day, when democracy comes back and the people are free of torture, of brutality and repression, that I would like to invite the world to see not just Istanbul, but also there's so many places in Turkey, which is a place of with a significant contribution to history and civilization. So that's the reason why I love Turkey, and I love the people there. So Dr. Shinder, I want to see. Let's see. Chat side. All right. So Dr. Shinder, numbers between 1 to 29. You there? Okay. Okay, there you go. 17, 28. I'm going to write it down. Number 28, 17, 5, 21, 13. Okay, so congratulations to you guys, and you will get a free pass, a VIP pass. There's 10 episodes, and this documentary is a scholarly film, actually, and film in 10 countries. So I hope you like it. Thank you so much.
Okay, so thanks a lot, all of our audience for watching us, and a special thanks to our panelists, very valuable panelists, and also Kurt for technical support, and also Dr. Schindler to help in raffle. We will go on this serial in 2020 also, and we will go on discussing genocidal systematic. Now, my request from our panelists to share their closing remarks about this episode and about the next programs also. Then we will close our program with call of Can Dündar. He's a famous journalist. His call to the global society. So please, let's start with Dr. Murch. What your closing remarks, please?
Thank you, Colonel. So I'd like to thank all of you for your support and participation to the first Global Dialogue for Justice, a hybrid world forum that we formally launched on July 15 this year. So when I created it, I thought I would be all alone, but I was wrong. And Dr. Bayram, Colonel Hüseyin Demirtaş, you have been my amazing mentors and advisors for this courageous project. And I will forever be grateful for accompanying me on this journey. But we all know that there's so much work to be done, a massive effort, and a huge responsibility. And despite the academic nature of this project and as a major global community engagement effort, we don't have funding or grant for it. So I asked the global community to support us and to prepare for the next Global Dialogue for Justice 2021. The Global Dialogue for Justice 2021 needs sponsors, and to fulfill our commitment is a hybrid world forum. So the next Global Dialogue, because of the pandemic, we're not able to do it, but it's supposed to be a virtual and a face-to-face global community engagement. But we're hoping that our world will be better when vaccine comes and, people have learned to self-distance and, we open our travel restrictions, that we'll be able to do what our original goal for this project. So finally, as a member of the global community, we must make a decision as well as commitment to stand firmer, speak louder, and be bold, act bolder, and we must refuse to stay silent. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Murch. And Dr. Bayram, please.
Well, everything is said. I would like to point out that Turkey is run by some lunatics who were escaped from mental asylum. The lunatics are obsessed with a middle-age ideology that is outside the values of humanity, basically, and we need help in fighting against those lunatics. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And Halis, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much for this great opportunity. It is a great time for me. I'm becoming more hopeful, and hand by hand, we will make this world more and more better. And good people will be at the end will be leaving this world freely, I hope. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thanks a lot again. And I will say we are refusing to stay silent against all kind of crimes, all kind of criminals. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how they are strong. It doesn't matter. We are right. We are on the right place. We are on the right side, and we are strong. So as long as I breathe, I will decorate with justice. Thanks a lot. And we are finishing now with the call of Can Dündar to the globe.
Ama daha da korkuncu oldu. Zulme alıştık. Bize insanların tarlalarında çalışırken askerler tarafından tartaklanarak gözaltına alındığını söylüyorlar. Olabilir diyoruz. Sonra onları helikopterlere bindirip aşağı atmışlar diyorlar. Şaşırıyoruz ama olmaz öyle şey diyemiyoruz. Yapabileceklerini çok iyi biliyoruz çünkü. Arada inanmayanlar oluyor. Onlara hastane raporları sunuluyor. Helikopterden atılanlardan biri 7, diğeri 8 çocuk babası. Birisi 50, diğeri 55 yaşında. Biri yoğun bakımda, diğeri hafızasını kaybetmiş durumda deniliyor. Üzülüyoruz ama bir şey yapamıyoruz. Bir şey yapmaya kalkışanın başına fena şeyler geliyor çünkü. Kimisi de yorgun artık. Ne yapsan düzelmiyor. Hem hangi birine yetişeceksin? Oh olsun diyenleri saymıyorum bile. Sonunda kanıt niyetine helikopterden atılanların fotoğrafları yayınlanıyor. Mosmor gözleri şişmiş, vücutları yara bere içinde. Bakıyoruz fotoğraflara, vah vah diyoruz. Ne iktidar hesap veriyor, ne muhalefet hesap soruyor. İki köylünün Vietnam'ı işgal eden Amerikan askerlerinin Vietcong gerillaları gibi helikopterden atılması iktidarın işkence dağarcığına ekleniyor, işe yaramıyor. Yaşadığı travmadan hafızasını yitirmiş o köylüler gibiyiz hepimiz. Ya korkudan ya da daha fenası alışkanlıktan anormali normal karşılıyoruz artık. Olabilir diyoruz, yapmışlardır. İktidar zulmü gün be gün artırarak, işkenceyi sıradanlaştırarak, kitleleri alıştırarak inşa ediyor baskı rejimini. Hala görenlere, alışmayı reddedenlere düşen bir hipnoz deneyimindeymişçesine efsunlanmış kitleleri sarsarak uyandırmak ve haykırmaktır. Duyuyor musunuz? Bu ülkede 2 kişiyi helikopterden attı jandarma.